During the first 5 years of life, children throughout the world have the same growth potential. The children of Mexico do not have to be an exception. If your children are small and are not growing during their first years, this means that they are not healthy and are not developing well. This condition is known as chronic malnutrition. Neither the height of the parents, nor the race, nor the region where the children are born have any impact on the size of boys and girls during the first 5 years of their life. What everyone should be aware of is that this condition can be prevented, and there are poor and rural zones in Mexico where they are accomplishing this.
You don't need to have lots of money to have a healthy child. What you have to provide is attention and care for the child. This way, he or she will not be malnourished.
This is the story of two very similar communities in Mexico and their fight against chronic malnutrition. The two communities are located in rural areas of Hidalgo, and in both, people live from very similar activities. Both have long histories of poverty, and consequently both receive the same type of assistance and support programs from the federal and state authorities to alleviate, to some degree, this poverty. However, there is something that marks a difference between these two communities. This is their children and the way they are growing. In one of the towns, the majority of the children are growing well. In the other, most of the children are not growing as they should. They are stunted and suffering from chronic malnutrition.
Your child measures 86 centimeters.
In Aquimantla, they have sustainably managed to reduce chronic malnutrition for more than a decade. Today, only 2 of every 10 children suffer from chronic malnutrition.
Children are born healthier. Their mothers are also healthier. There are no mothers dying while giving birth, and children are not dying when they are born. He doesn't get sick that much, and I feel proud that my boy is happy and healthy.
As we can see, chronic malnutrition can be prevented. In this community, they have succeeded, and they are breaking the myth that condemns the children of poor and peasant families to suffer from chronic malnutrition. In the other town, despite some progress, the challenge is still very big. More than half of the children there suffer from chronic malnutrition.
I think that most children are malnourished here. The majority of them just spend their time sitting down and almost never play. They are unable to understand the instructions that I give them.
A ver, ¿cantamos? ¿Sí? Vamos a cantar.
It is important to understand that this is not only a problem of size, but also what the size is telling us about the health of the children. Malnutrition does not only affect the weight and height of the children. The most dangerous aspect is that it affects the development of the brain and reduces intelligence. It weakens their health and limits them physically. You, as parents, only have the first 2 years of your children's lives to prevent chronic malnutrition. After the first 2 years, the consequences and damage are irreversible. When the child with chronic malnutrition grows, the risk of suffering from diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease will be greater. He or she will be less productive, will have a lower income, and the probability of being a poor adult will be greater. This is why, in order to reduce poverty in Mexico, it is essential to reduce chronic malnutrition. On the other hand, well-nourished children not only grow well, they are healthier, more capable children. They learn more quickly and are more sociable.
He's an intelligent boy and remembers everything the teacher tells him. And when he gets home, he puts it into practice by himself. His mother took care of him, breastfed him, and made sure he got his vaccines. She did take care of him. Angeli measures 72 centimeters. The period from the time the baby is in the mother's womb and during the first 2 years of life is essential. I believe that the child's nutrition can be the same, whether it is in the city or in the countryside, provided that during the initial stages they have the adequate nutrition.
In Aquimantla, they are successfully reducing malnutrition due to the punctual and constant attendance to the health center of the expectant mothers and children under the age of 2.
Each month, they weighed and measured my daughter, and I had to go each month. I had to go for the life and sake of my daughter. Each month, they weighed and measured my daughter, and I went every month. I had to go for my daughter's future, and even though I had other things to do, my daughter always came first.
If they are in good health, they will develop quicker and be more intelligent, and I believe this will help them later. My children are strong and healthy.
And thanks to the quality of the information the parents in Aquimantla are receiving, they have learned how important it is to feed their babies only with mother's milk from birth to 6 months of age. And then from the 6th month, they can start to eat mashed or minced food recommended by the health personnel while they continue drinking their mother's milk.
Now that he is 6 months, I have started to give him chicken liver, some vegetables, and I also give him mashed fruit.
In Mexico, it is most usual to weigh the children, but watching their height during the first 2 years is also important, and the best way to know if your child is growing and developing well. And a good way of knowing if children are growing well is this. During the first year, your baby should grow around 24 centimeters and approximately 12 centimeters more in his or her second year of life. This is what is happening with the children of Aquimantla. They are growing well. For example, Dustin grew 28 centimeters during his first year and 12 centimeters more before his second birthday. According to her mother, Jolette grew 31 centimeters in her first year and 11 centimeters more for her second birthday. Riquelme grew 26 centimeters in his first year and 17 centimeters more during his second year. These children are healthy. They are happy, active, and intelligent. The children of Aquamantla are developing well because their parents take them regularly for their health control, ask for information on how to take good care of them, and have paid a lot of attention to their nutrition.
Buenos días. Buenos días. ¿Qué se le ofrece?
Vengo a medir el peso.
¿Cómo se llama su niña?
Nubia de Mario Franco.
Franco Cano Adamar. Nubia. Franco Cano. ¿Cuántos meses tiene?
6 meses.
In spite of having the same type of health units and prevention programs as their neighbor Aquamantla, in the second town, the number of boys and girls who are not growing well and are suffering from some degree of chronic malnutrition is high. Erica grew well, a total of 24 centimeters during her first year, but only 3 centimeters during the second one. Rodrigo grew only 20 centimeters during the first year and only 8 more before his second birthday. Omeira, who did not grow a single centimeter during her second year. All these children are well below the 24 and 12 centimeters of growth expected during their first and second years of life.
Your daughter weighs 10.5 kilos and measures 84 centimeters and would therefore be considered moderately malnourished.
In the second town, they have not yet managed to get the mothers in the community to take their children for their controls at the frequency expected.
Do you know what malnutrition is?
A child becomes sick, doesn't eat, and loses weight.
What happens when a child is malnourished?
But it is not only a problem of being underweight. A large part of the problem is that the parents of the children who are stunted do not realize this. If the parents are unaware of what chronic malnutrition is and how much it harms their children, it will be impossible for them to solve it.
What happens when a child is malnourished?
The child's weight doesn't increase. When a child is malnourished, its weight doesn't increase.
In addition to the weight, do you know what the consequences of chronic malnutrition are? Some say, why go to unit? What advice are they going to give me? I know how to take care of my family. The unit is not important, but it's necessary for us fathers and mothers to take care of our children. One has to see how to care for them and how to stimulate them.
What is happening in the second town is a reality that affects many poor communities in the Mexican Republic, where 1 in every 5 children under the age of 5 suffers from chronic malnutrition. This means they will face many health and learning problems for the rest of their lives. And this can be avoided, as in Aquamantla, by visiting the health centers regularly and requesting information on how to feed and take care of our children.
What is it that I see? It's as easy as seeing the smile on a children's face or watching him or her play and develop. And now that we can see this progress, I can say with pride that I am a rural doctor. I want the best for him, that he becomes a doctor, a teacher, or an engineer. I would like to see him make it. I wish him the best of luck for his success. I love you very much.
Remember, during their first years, children throughout the world have the same growth potential. Neither the size of their parents, nor their race, nor the area where they are born has anything to do with the size that the boys and girls attain during their first 5 years of life. The experience in Aquimantla shows us that chronic malnutrition can be prevented in rural and poor zones of Mexico. Every centimeter is important in the first 2 years of your child's life. That is why knowing the value of growing well and knowing what to do to achieve it has made it possible for these children to develop their capabilities to optimum levels, preparing the way for them to become productive adults with better opportunities in life. And you, do you know how your children are growing? Remember, during the first year of life, your children should grow approximately 24 centimeters and 12 centimeters more during their second year. Mother's milk is the only food you should give your baby until he or she is 6 months old. After the 6th month, you have to give your baby other food and should continue with the breastfeeding until the age of 2. Take your child regularly to the health unit. There they will weigh and measure him or her and will tell you how to take care of his feeding, his growth, and his development.